is in its death throes. It's in its last stages of life.
Why do they believe that?
Well, they got to try to put a positive spin on this thing. And the reality is we've seen this playbook before. We have to take them out in Syria and Iraq. We have to finally shut down that territorial gain that they've made, and we have to stop that. But we have to be pragmatic and understand that we have seen this before. The fact that they're reaching out and attacking in the West doesn't mean they're desperate. It just means that they're doing what they always do. They adapt and they morph. They've moved people and resources into CERT in Libya. There's 6 or 7 failed states in the Middle East now. They've been moving into Africa. Groups, as you pointed out, have been declaring their allegiance, which accounts for some of this growth that we're seeing in this on this map. But it doesn't show that they're desperate. It just shows that they always adapt. And we saw it after we went to Tora Bora, and we saw what Al-Qaeda did after we started to really get after them. They flattened out, put more of the responsibility out to individual cells. This is what they're going to be doing.
Ambassador John Bolton told me yesterday on the air that this is like the worst game of... They have a place where they can mass.
Right.
They're in Raqqa, Syria, they've got a nesting hole for the Scorpions to go and train. They've got that magnet turned on, and you say but every general says what you just said.
Yeah, it's the same problem. Look, right after we went to Tora Bora, and that was a brilliant tactical operation, right? That was a great operation. Now then it deviated into nation building, which it was somewhat insane. But an individual I know, former tank driver for the Russian army, who had been in Afghanistan during the Soviet occupation there, grabbed me, literally looked at me, and I was overseas at the time, and he looked at me and he kind of shook me by the shoulders and he said, that was great, that's wonderful what you did, don't stay. Don't stay. They're like cockroaches. You step on them. I'll never forget he said this. You step on them here, they show up over here. And that's exactly what the world of jihadism and Muslim extremism, it's a generational issue. It's not going away in our time. Even when we do finally defeat them in Syria and Iraq, we have to be realistic about what we're facing.
They have a long game.
Absolutely.
It's really long.
Yeah.
That's what generals have told me. All right, the Olympic uniforms for Team USA are here. Notice anything?
Is going to continue to be a work in progress, but it's all going to come together, and I'm confident based on the crowds that we're seeing. I was in Nevada yesterday. I was in Arizona. I'm in Colorado today. The enthusiasm out there across this country for Donald Trump's message and his vision is just overwhelming.
So Donald Trump, being who he is the reason why we've seen such incredible turnout and such incredible crowds. And now we're getting these reports, despite all of that perhaps there's some sort of intervention being planned for Donald Trump this weekend from some other high-profile Republicans. What can you tell us about that?
You know, I talk to Donald Trump just about every day, and look, you're always going to hear these inside baseball discussions. I've never heard anything about a meeting of that kind. Donald Trump is off to Florida today. I've got town halls and rallies here in Colorado. He and I will be campaigning together Friday. This campaign is totally focused on strengthening America at home and abroad. Donald Trump has a vision. He has the candor. He has the personal courage to be able to drive this nation forward. And we've also got to do our part to make sure that the American people understand the disastrous record of Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. I mean, I think most Americans are reeling this morning to find out that there was $400 million worth of cash that was delivered to Iran at the same time that they were releasing 4 American hostages. I mean, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama have essentially put a price tag on the head of every American traveling abroad in violation of long-standing American policy about paying ransom or doing deals with terrorists.
We've heard from the State Department, in fact, on Fox News just a few hours ago, and they say again this is not ransom, that the timing is just a coincidence, and there's really no there. What's your reaction to that line coming from the administration?
Well, it's who you're going to believe, me or your own eyes. I mean, the fact of the matter is that there was testimony before the Senate that said there was no American cash involved, and Jenna, now this story breaks, and I understand there's video about pallets of cash being delivered. In the last 24 hours, the Ayatollah al-Khamenei referred to the relationship with America as deadly poison and distanced himself from the very nuclear deal that Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton are celebrating. I mean, look, the foreign policy of this administration has resulted in the wider Arab world literally spinning apart. The American people know that Donald Trump is going to provide the kind of leadership that will rebuild our military, stand with our allies, stand up to our opponents, and will confront and destroy ISIS at its source.
The picture that you painted this administration, the administration that Hillary Clinton was a part of, is pretty dismal. And if the American public does believe you, then why are other high-profile Republicans like a Meg Whitman, for example, coming out despite all of that and saying, I don't support Donald Trump, I actually support Hillary Clinton?
Well, look, people are entitled to their own opinions, but they're not entitled to their own facts. And the truth of the matter is that the president earlier this week actually talked about Donald Trump lacking the judgment to serve in the highest office in the land. I got to tell you, you look at the judgment of this administration, of Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State. You look at the decision to withdraw troops from Iraq, Jenna, without a status of forces agreement and create a vacuum in which ISIS was born and compromised large portions of that country that was secured by American soldiers. You look at the disastrous agreement that Hillary Clinton instigated with Iran, and then of course you look at Benghazi, where literally this administration left Americans in harm's way.
I only have a minute here, and the list that you mentioned is a list that a lot of our viewers are very familiar with. The question that it comes down to, though, is why do you believe Donald Trump would make better decisions than this administration? What does he offer to the American people that is drastically different and something that they could have confidence in, that he is going to maintain good decision-making leadership as the commander-in-chief?
Well, what he's going to provide is leadership. I mean, under this administration, Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton have actually celebrated an American foreign policy that leads from behind. Donald Trump will lead from the front. He will bring together our allies. He will rebuild our military. He will stand with those who stand with us, and he will confront and destroy those that threaten our freedom. I think that's the reason why, we saw the huge crowds in Reno the other night, why he's seeing huge crowds as he's traveling around the country, because the American people know a leader when they see it, and they know that Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton's weak foreign policy has essentially left the world spinning apart, and they want to see a leader like Donald Trump in the White House that's going to make America strong at home and abroad.
We're going to have to leave it there. Governor Pence, thank you so much for joining us in the program. We look forward to having you back.
You bet.
And we'll be right back with more Happening Now.